Hi, my name's Jerome Campbell and I am DEFO RECO. I'm the founder of Cluedup Coffee. Started it about April 2017. The inspiration came from I was working for this borough, which is Southwark, in education, and it was like there was a moment in time where everyone got taken to Millwall football ground for a conference, and it was a case of people seeing letters saying your job's been made redundant, So that's how a lot of people found out. My job wasn't, but I was able to take voluntary redundancy, and it was with that I thought, you know what, it's time to start to begin this journey of of being the conductor of my own ship, Yeah, and then moved in with my sister at Victoria Park. I used to be on the balcony at the entrance, looking at the ice cream van and counting these numbers. I'll be 3, 6, 9, and I'll do it for 20 minutes. I'll be he's made this much in 20 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And then there was a patch just on the other side of him that's never been used before. And then I came up with this concept of putting a coffee. There was a gap in the market at Vicky Park, so I just bought a trailer, and then gutted it out, and then that was it. The rest is history. It started. So when I left work, I got redundancy money, and that kind of took me through the year of planning. That year, and while I was back then, I had materials, if you know what I mean. So I had a BMW, and I had a watch, which I did looking back at it now, I'm come on, there's a time for all of that. So over that year, I sold my car, sold my watch, which is that was a bit of money. And then I met a woman called Mavis, which was my sister's mate. And she works for, it's called Jeromes Vision, I think it's called. Yeah. We linked up, and then she was like, look, we can get you a loan, a business loan. So, leading up to it, it was she supported me. A woman called Mavis and a guy called Tene, who helped me with my business plan. Yeah, man. Support, it's a weird one with being an entrepreneur, because in my brain, no one owes you nothing. No one cares about you. No one owes you anything whatsoever. And when I first opened, because it was literally downstairs from my sister's house. I used to wake up in the morning. No, my sister, everyone's still sleeping. I felt like I needed support, but I didn't. And it was the more support you get sometimes at the start, the less backbone you got. You know what I mean? You need to kind of rough it. You need to be out, getting up, waking up at the 5 a.m. So it's the support's important because there's work, my family inspire me and motivate me, and my missus, she does it. She's motivated me from the beginning, even though she don't step foot in anywhere. But on the other side, she helped. She's been very supportive on the journey. Definitely, man. When you start being on this path, there's a few things that happen to you that realize that you're on that journey, you're on the right path. So leading up to me wanting to do all of this, the council's got in contact with me saying, we want you to do it next week. So leading up to the final days of me having no money, I've spent all my money that year, the business loan kicked in. When I mean it was a day's different. And then from then, from the day that I got it, it was it's weird. It was maybe a week before my birthday. And my cousin got me I was look, I bought the trailer, gave it to the guys to spray and everything, and I told them I'm going on holiday. I'm going on holiday because it's all leading up to this. I didn't even think I was gonna even open this. So dropped it down to them. It was a bit of rust. My cousin booked me a business class flight on my birthday, which was boom. So on my birthday, I've got my stickers. I'm sticking them on all the things in business class. I didn't care. I was just because I'm in business class. And then, so that was one night. But then there's other moments, the day that I opened, Do you know what I mean? It was official, you know, like when that day was ended, yeah, like emotionally, I broke down because like it was just there was so much stuff leading up to me opening, yeah, that it was just like even to the fact that it's like on the day of the launch, yeah, I'd even know how to make coffee. But because I'm doing everything in the powers to be to make sure everything's set up and this is done, the coffee machine's in place, that I had to phone my mate and say, look, listen, come down, it's gonna open in about the next couple hours. Yeah, and like this machine's a bit like, I'm not sure how to deal with this machine sort of thing. So that was a moment, like, and then the first customer asked me for a macchiato. I thought, what is a macchiato? What the hell is a macchiato? So it's like, these are like moments, if you know what I mean. And it's like, it carries on like I feel like, you know, you always get these, like, I call them magical blessings, yeah, that kind of push you to say, right, keep pushing on, keep going, you know, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's the beginning. But yeah, no, that's another defining moment was like, you know, building the biscuit factory, turning like in less than a year, having a trailer, opening an indoor space and having like an indoor space in it that was like that was like, there was like bricks in the middle of the floor, you know what I mean? Like when I got there, I had to get my gloves on to make it into like the shop that you saw when you came down. That was like another moment of like, wow. So then like, and then yeah, so after that, like having all the events and meeting you, having all these different events, having like Sofa Sounds come down, having like my friend Ruben starting a dream rehab down there. It was like, it was manifesting into this creative hub that I thought, oh, this thing's like, it's bigger than a trailer, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's bigger than coffee. Yeah, man. My vision, for example, you know, like is that since I've started, yeah, I've sat down with people that I thought that I would never be able to sit down with. Do you know what I mean? In regards to like redevelopment, you know what I mean? Corporate social responsibility. So it's like, you know, I've been asked to come to planning committee meetings. I'm like, before, it was like I'm from a trailer to you know, having from the shop being taken away to me sitting down in planning committee meetings and discussing future plans of like, you know, what's going to be happening and how I can fit into that. So I'm like, so that's one aspect of it. So it's basically to be in like really prime spots and make more connections, which I've done. You know, with London Bridge, there's going to be, you know, a few projects that are going to be happening here in the future, which is going to be like beautiful. And then I'm moving over to Clerkenwell to set up with another massive company to, you know, pitch to have Cluedup Coffee there, but to extend doing like, you know, food in regards to like, you know, having like a pop-up sort of market feel to that space. So that's one aspect of it. So there's going to be the food, and also, so I've recently applied for like funding, and you know, my application was pretty strong, man. So and the funding's to do a project with young people, where you know, it's a mentoring program, but they come and learn how to be a barista. Do you know what I mean? They learn about food hygiene, you know, and where they can go out and, you know, if they're good, then I want them to kind of move over to Clerkenwell to be like part of that market program, and like come in there, maybe they might be a barista, maybe they might be helping a chef do, you know, with some of the food, and keep it all kind of like an in-house program, you know what I mean? So there's that's aspect of it, and then like in the future, I'm moving that into more of like an academy where you come in and, you know, you're learning. There's like a entrepreneurial course that you have, which it will be accredited, you know, and I've met the right people that can accredit that, as long as, you know, it's strong enough. But that's over there, you know what I mean? So it's about building like a movement of like, you know, not just Cluedup Coffee, but inspiring like a lot of the next generation, and not just next and older people, to kind of like get involved or pursue their own, you know, entrepreneurial food industry, whatever it is, you know. So that's one of the, you know, that's the vision for everything. Grew up in East London, yeah. dress the way I did from day dot, if you know what I mean. So it's like, when growing up, when people knew, they were like, yeah, that's Jerome. And then I got the name, my friend Aaron and Ruben, they called me Mr. Clued Up from back then. So I was like, yeah, Mr. Clued Up, I like that one. And it was like just basically how I dressed, and like, you know, I feel like a lot of like my generation that are born in East London, we were like a bit of a movement, if you know what I mean. People will come down to like Shoreditch, Brick Lane, see how man's dressing. Oh, that's before you know it, yeah, you're dressing the way you are, and then you're being called a hipster. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, like it's like it came from that Clued Up, Mr. Clued Up, and I thought, you know what, let's carry on the name, you know, and call it Cluedup Coffee. Biggest challenge, yeah. I think the biggest challenge was like in March, like just gone, like knowing, you know, having a space and having all these dreams and aspirations, yeah, with that space, you know, and it was like, and realizing that, you know, this even though it's in the corner of nowhere, you know, because to find it, you need to know about it. You got, you know, you follow the red line on the floor, you got how many flights of stairs, that being taken away overnight. Biggest challenge, because I was like, as much as this opportunity at London Bridge presented itself, like everything went out, you know, everything that I could possibly do went out, because I'm getting emails every week. Can we book your space? Can we book your space? Can we book your space? Can we? And I've taken deposits. Do you know what I mean? To say, yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. Just put a £50, put a £100 deposit, and then like thinking, right, I need to make sure that everybody, like, this is gone. When I get back, I got to make sure that everybody's getting their money back. You know what I mean? And my form of income is gone like that. There's no more, after that, there's no more form of income. So that was a challenge in itself, thinking like what's my next move, if you know what I mean? How am I gonna, you know, and the perseverance through it was like, like I was on like how I persevered, yeah, was like having the faith that this is gonna be big, innit? Do you know what I mean? And it's bigger than the biscuit factory in that space. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, that's happened for a reason, and I don't know why yet, but I need to push through, because that will present itself at some moment in time. You know what I mean? So with that kind of mentality, yeah, not being cocky, but I'm like, I can deal with my resilience, and I feel like I can sit down with anybody, and yes, man, you're at Turbo. I can sit down with anyone and pitch them an idea, and whether they like it or not is a different question. But you know, I can sit down with you, and I can go dressed in my trousers rolled up. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I have to start putting on a suit and tie, because I know where my value lays, innit? Do you know what I mean? And what I'm trying to achieve. You know what? Yeah, like in regard, like my biggest values minus all of this, yeah, because these are like, you know, having a business is like my family, yeah, and you know, just being as supportive as I can with my family, and you know, like keep inspiring them, and if they need help, and giving them like that clued up advice, man, because you know, like and that, you know, that same value for the, you know, that reciprocates. Do you know what I mean? So the bond with my family is where, you know, everything lays, you know. Yeah, definitely. In regards to like going out and talking to other people, there's like in our community, I think there's a lack of knowledge sometimes, like, and a lack of shared knowledge. So say for example, another man wants to open a coffee shop, come and sit down with me, innit? Do you know what I mean? Come in, and a lot of the mistakes that I've maybe made that's cost me money, I'll make sure that doesn't happen again. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like Clued Up is not just, like I said, it's not just a coffee, bro. It's like it comes with a whole package. Do you know what I mean? And being able to share the knowledge and grow as a community, man. So resolutions, I ain't touched on that yet. That's over there. But goals is to sit down with more people. You know, sit down, put myself in that position where I'm pitching an idea to someone that can say yes or no, right? And, you know, and not being in here as much this year. and being, you know, in that way I'm kind of like, you know, I've done my time. I'm kind of converting into being more of a business and understanding that, you know, running a business rather being the mechanics behind doing all, you know. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do this year. And I've got a few, you know, I've got a few people that in this area that hopefully I can sit down with, you know, so I can have like it dotted, start taking over London Bridge and all that. I'm open to meeting with anyone, you know what I mean, because like, even if it's not always about, you're right there, it's not always about like who can say yes or no, you know what I mean, it's about just connecting with like the right minded people, because, you know, like on our paths and journeys, we, you know, we kind of, I think sometimes we isolate ourselves from being open to that just because of past experience and past trauma. But when you're like open to, you know, meeting more people and don't think that, oh, I've got to do everything, I've got to be that, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and having less of that mentality of like I've got, and you know, you can meet people that might be able to add value to what you're doing, or you add value to what they're doing. It's mad. It's mad. Like, so say for example, yeah, like my Google started phoning me. I see this number, yeah, I'm thinking, why? They're like, listen, we need to confirm what time you're open. I'm like, why are you? So I've checked, yeah, so like there was 1 month where there was 10,000 people that's accessed me. Then it went up to 30,000 the next month, so it went up by 20, and then another 10, then it was like 40,000. I'm like, what, in 3 months? Like, so people are walking past me, yeah, like, and going, you know, who's this Cluedup Coffee? But like, it's not converting into, you know, I wish it could convert into like a bigger percentage of coffee sales. But, you know, it's like, when you find that like being in a prime location and being an independent in this location with a brand, it's very useful. It's advertising in itself. So like, at the moment, yeah, like I try not to post, like online is good, yeah, but how do you know that your online presence is translating into money? So why bother, you know, and I've always liked to, you know, I don't want to saturate everyone with information all the time, because it's like, oh, what, another heart in his coffee? Bloody hell, how many hearts in the coffee? What's he making? So it's like, it's important, but I think social media is important, not for anyone else, yeah, but it's important for me to look back at my journey. You know what I mean? So it's like more of a reflection of like landmarks. Okay, this happened then. Oh, that reminded me. A year later, I was doing this, and it's a year to date. And you know what I mean? You're like, oh, these are the little things that remind you to say, oh, right, keep pushing on. You know what I mean? So in that sense, Instagram's been amazing. I haven't really touched on like I post on Facebook and stuff, but if you're gonna, you know, you might as well just focus on making what you have the best rather than social media. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's too much information is not good for anyone. You know, like I think like with a lot of situations, fear, yeah, is always gonna come involved, like with whether they start or not, innit? And if you, and like I think it's good to break down like what are you, if you're not doing it now, what is it that you're scared of? You know what I mean? Because are you gonna starve? Are you gonna, you know, worst case scenario, what could possibly happen to scare you enough away from not doing what you want to do? So I'm like, I think it's about taking that step, that giant step, and like starting it, and not saying, oh, when I'm in 2 weeks time, I'm going to, oh, after in the new year, I'm going to. Nah, because it starts today, innit? So it's like, once you know that you want to start whatever you want to achieve, or you want to speak to anybody that you want to speak to, if you're a musician, go and send these guys a DM, or send them over, maybe not a DM, be a bit more imaginative in how you get through to them. But you eventually, you'll be able to sit down with that right person. So I think you should just start it today, and then it will, you know, manifest into what you want it to be.